Hey, everybody. Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of Two Wavy Girls on the Internet. We are so glad you are here. I'm Allison Lupo.
And I'm Swavy Curly Courtney. We celebrate all things wavy, curly, and wonderfully real.
And we play around with all the products and read the back of the bottles so that you do not have to. Welcome, guys. We are here. We are talking about products. We are talking about fall. We're talking about the weather change. We're talking about humidity, hard water, everything in between. Courtney, would you like to start us off with your big thoughts around all of the above? Like when you think about that statement, humidity, hard water, everything in between, what is like the first thing that pops into your mind and expound upon it? I have thoughts. I want to hear yours first.
The first thing that pops into my head when I hear humidity, hard water, and everything in between is my crusty faucet.
You're
How
Welcome to doing one's hair, brushing one's teeth, washing one's face in Texas. I mean,
yeah.
the crusty faucet is a real thing. Okay, what do you do about it though? Because you can't CLR your hair. Do you CLR your faucet?
Well, you kind of can CLR your hair.
Just
There
not with
are
the CLR.
specific products for that, which
Right.
we'll go into in a minute. But I don't like CLR because I used it on my faucets and it ate away the finish on my faucet.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
it
can't
was
do
not
that.
good. So what I like to do instead is just get a bag full of white vinegar and like rubber band this bag of white vinegar to my faucet and like submerge the faucet in the white vinegar in the plastic bag. This
I
is
like
really
it.
hard to describe with words. It's very easy to show.
Yes.
Anyway,
It
and then
makes
I let it
perfect sense
soak
though.
for a bit.
Okay, I like it. I think it's a good plan. I'm going to try that next time because it did take the finish off one of my faucets. But I wouldn't recommend using vinegar on one's hair. There are a lot of other products that are more pH balanced that are designed to do something like that. So maybe we should start with hard water. Maybe that's the direction we're going here today. And I know that we do have some questions as well. So if you guys have questions, please know we want to know them. You're talking to me, Allison Lupo. I'm a hairstylist in Dallas, Texas. Courtney, a future hairstylist. I always want to say that you're in Amarillo, but that's not right.
Very close. The other A, Abilene, Texas.
Abilene. It's Abilene. So the
Yep.
other almost hairstylist in Abilene, Texas. We have used a lot of products over the years. We're not just people that showed up and thought we'd be cute on the internet. Frankly, we're probably not that cute on the internet. I speak for myself though. We have tried a lot of products. We've touched a lot of hair and we talk about a lot of things. So really when we talk about products, it's because we're really trying to help you and lead you down a path that will help you have the best waves and curls of your life. And it's not overnight, but we really are trying to help you. So, favorite products for removing. Courtney, you have a favorite. You talk about it all the time. It is a Dad product. I believe it's called Waterworks that you have
got it.
leaned on heavy over the years. I still have not ever used this product. My hair actually really likes hard water, which is a funny thing because it's not a sticking point for me. I don't know if your hair
Right.
also likes hard water or if your hard water is harder than my hard water. Say that 6 times fast. I feel like it depends on your hair type. For someone that has a more porous hair type, and I know we talk about porosity a lot, but for more porous hair types or for hairs that are very slippery soft, you actually may benefit a little bit from that hard water. And that hard water is nothing more than certain minerals in your water. It could be manganese, it could be lime, it could be, I don't know. I don't even know what all the chemicals are. Chlorine can definitely be one, and that one can be a little bit worse. But I would definitely say that some people can benefit from hard water. But if you notice your hair feeling stiff or tangling easily, or just not curling right, using a shampoo specifically designed to remove those minerals from your hair is one of the best things you can do. I tend to reach for something that is just a general clarifying shampoo. If it has an ingredient called EDTA in it, that is an ingredient that can actually chelate, is the other word, that can chelate those minerals off of your hair. So a chelating shampoo, a hard water shampoo, those are the words on the front of the bottle that you want to look for. EDTA is an ingredient you'll want to look for on the back of the bottle, unless your Waterworks shampoo has something else in it that I'm not aware of. But tell me, what is the foundation of that particular shampoo that you love?
So it is formulated to remove hard water deposits from the hair. And typically, when a shampoo claims to be chelating, it is specifically targeting calcium deposit and magnesium deposit, not necessarily the chlorine. That is a different shampoo. That is a different ingredient. Citric acid is one of those ingredients that can neutralize the chlorine in your hair. So not all chelating shampoos target chlorine. So don't think that because Allison mentioned chlorine, we're talking about like fixing your hair after soaking in a swimming pool type of chelating. I am talking specifically about calcium and magnesium buildup on the hair. Another way that you can tell that you are really struggling with some hard water buildup on your hair, potentially could be you are dealing with a lot of brassiness in your hair. It's looking like orangey, yellowy. That could be hard water deposit on your hair. And also, EDTA is a really good ingredient to preserve your product, to keep bacteria, mold, fungus from growing in your product in specific concentrations. So just because you pick up, I've had people ask me this specific question and I dug into it. They showed me what was it? I think it was the Suave coconut conditioner that everybody loved to use to co-wash their hair. They're like, this is a chelating product because it has EDTA in it. And I'm like, no, it's conditioner. There is EDTA in a ton of different products.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you said that because I'd completely forgotten that even exists. EDTA is an ingredient like anything else, but it has a place.
Yes. And it's in a lower concentration in a product. It acts as a preservative, but when it's in a high enough concentration, yes, it can act as a chelator specifically. The easiest way to know if your product is chelating or not, those brands, man, they'll help you out. They will put it somewhere, either on the bottle or on the description on their website. They will make that claim. Hey guys, this one removes hard water buildup. You don't have to be an ingredients reading ninja in order to figure out if your product is chelating or not. You just need to read the information that the company is giving you. I personally do really like the We Dad Waterworks shampoo. It's fairly accessible. You can trot your booty into just about any Ulta and find it today if you need to. Another really good one is the Ion Hard Water Shampoo. I have really, really enjoyed that one. If you prefer to shop on Amazon and want a cheaper option than the We Dad Waterworks, Ion Hard Water Shampoo is really good for that.
I'll mention one third option is the Malibu Sea Hard Water Shampoo. I know there are a lot of stylists that love that one. Again, since my hair likes hard water, this is not something that I feel like I can specialize in from a recommendation standpoint. I use in here to clarify in my salon in Dallas to clarify my own clients. I will use, stepping away from the camera for a minute to go grab things. I love the AG Hair Care Curl Fresh shampoo. That's one that I use a lot.
I love that stuff, Allison. That stuff is amazing.
It's such a good clarifying shampoo. Is it an actual hard water shampoo? I don't think so, but it's an excellent clarifying shampoo. I do have some clients that use this shampoo day in and day out. It is an amazing shampoo. It's not, and I hate most shampoos. I find most shampoos to be either overly cleansing or under cleansing. Like there's just nothing kind of in between. I would not love this personally for me on a day in and day out basis, but a number of my clients do, and that's totally fine. But I use it in my studio as a clarifying shampoo, and it's excellent for that. But it's not going to be removing magnesium. And I would like to thank you for saying magnesium instead of manganese, because I obviously don't have my words together today. And
this
also,
is the chemistry teacher coming out.
What am I talking about?
This is my chemistry coming out. I'm supposed to be your friendly local high school chemistry teacher. So that's the only reason that stuck in my brain.
You know, I don't think I knew that about you.
Yeah.
Did you go to school to be a chemistry teacher? Stop it. Why didn't I know that? You know what? And I did not pay attention to chemistry in high school. And now I'm like, I really should have paid more attention to that. I took biology in college because I thought it would be easier because I didn't really get into science until like an adult. Huh?
Biology's tough.
Biology was really hard. It was really, really hard.
One last note about chelating shampoos and dealing with hard water. I do live in an area of Texas that is extremely dry and has extremely hard water. Like our spoons stand up in our cups because the water's so hard. Just kidding. It's not really actually that hard, but it is
Just kidding.
extremely hard
Almost.
water. When you use a shampoo that claims to remove hard water buildup from the hair, like you read it on the bottle or you read it on the manufacturer's website, you will be reaching with your other hand to grab a deep conditioner. Do not use a chelating shampoo without also having carved out 30 minutes of your life afterwards to deep condition. Pretty please and thank you. I personally love using chelating shampoos often, but it's because I really am weird about the feel of my hair. It may look incredible and awesome, but if it feels rough and kind of crispy, crunchy, weird feeling, I die a little bit on the inside. I'm a sensory person. So using those hard water shampoos and those deep conditioners to really pull all of the hard water deposit mineral off of the hair that makes it feel dry and rough, and then deep condition it afterwards, makes my hair feel really soft and silky and well conditioned, and that makes my heart happy. Do my curls hold as well? No, of course they don't. They don't have the grit that the hard water gives it. But also, my hair feels nice and I'm not crying.
I like that you're not crying. And I know what you mean about your hair feeling a certain kind of way. There was a video that I put out on the YouTube, I mean, a million years ago, probably 6 years ago. It was pre 2020. And I mentioned in the video that my hair felt a certain kind of way, and the people kind of came for me a bit in the comments because it did look good. It looked good, but it felt stiff and it felt crunchy and all those kinds of things. And I will say one thing about hard water. My hair really likes hard water now. But when I was new to my journey and my hair was right, Courtney's given me the, oh yeah, that's a good thing to mention. Look, because the deal is when your hair is new to being cared for, when it's new to being nurtured, it is dehydrated, it's a little depressed, and it's a little crunchy, and it's reactive. It's reactive to all the things.
Persnickety, to use the Texas term, persnickety.
Persnickety. Do you ever watch one of my favorite accounts on Instagram, which is Landon Talks? Do you watch Landon Talks?
I haven't seen him, I don't think.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to find Landon Talks. He is just an account. I think he's in Mississippi or maybe Alabama, and he talks like this, and he just explains something to you like the best potato salad and how do you have to make it. And I know that in Texas, we are not like the deep South. Like we're on that desert / deep South border. We don't really belong to either side. We are Texans. We are our own people. But his account cracks me up because it's the way you say things. And persnickety is a perfect word for describing hair when it is new to being nurtured, because it is probably, I was just having this conversation with my first client this morning. It's probably high porosity. How do you know if your hair is high porosity? It tends to take a minute to get wet because the water is just going right through it. It tends to absorb a lot of gel. I used a ton of the InnerSense. I create curl memory gel on her this morning, and usually I don't need a lot of that, but her hair was still even barely crunchy because it was just absorbing, going right through, just so thirsty, right? So when you first start out, that hard water is going to have a different impact on your hair that you may notice a lot more often than you do when your hair is really healthy later on, and it can actually benefit from that or resist the effects of that. So as we always say, getting to know your hair over the course of many years, many months, many years is a really good thing for you. Consider it self-care. So all the things about hard water in our minds, there they are. There they are.
And Allison, this is the perfect transition into talking about humidity and fall weather and transitioning your products from summer products to your fall products. I have some serious thoughts about this that tie in perfectly with what you just said. When my hair was in that transition phase, when it was decreasing in porosity, going from being really tortured and fried.
And you've done it twice now. You've done the transition
twice. I've done it twice,
now.
And it has been consistent both times. When my hair is more sensitized or reactive, I love how you described it as reactive or persnickety. The products that I use really affect my hair more when my hair is reactive versus when it's out of transition, it's calmed down, it's lower porosity. I find that I can use just about whatever I want on my hair and I get a decent wash day result when my hair is lower porosity versus when my hair is higher porosity. I have to super pay attention to what I use and I have to use a lot more of it. So in the fall time, a magical thing happens where we fall into an ideal dew point range. Now, this was a big deal to me for a very long time, but I find now that it's like no big deal. And I don't have to pay attention to whether or not my products contain glycerin or not. Allison, what are your thoughts on that?
Same. I have been wearing my hair wavy curly and sharing my journey since 2016, have become a hairstylist in the middle of all of that, and have noticed on myself and on clients that I have seen since I was in school, over 5 years ago. I started school in 2018. I started seeing clients not long after, and some of those clients are still with me and have followed me for the last few years, and it's been wonderful. And having seen their hair change over the years too, it's the same story. And I do love that you have gone through a transition journey twice. I have not. I went through that once. I didn't bleach my hair. I didn't go through flat ironing, and I didn't do all the things that suck the life out of it, the hydration out of it, which is really kind of what it's about at the end of the day. So when you went through it a second time, you went through it knowing what to expect with your eyes wide open. And I think it's so fascinating that you observed and lived that the same thing happened that second time. It wasn't just the imagination of the person going through for the first time, getting to know their hair for the first time, learning what to expect for the first time.
I knew how to scrunch gel into my hair. I knew how to layer products. I knew how to brush style and diffuse and plop and all the stuff and things. I wasn't having to relearn all of those details. And the hair was still really tricky.
Really tricky. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. So when we talk about humidity and we talk about transitioning into fall, if you're in Texas, if you're in Dallas, like we are right now, I don't know about you, Courtney, because you're in a drier area of the state than I am, but it still feels like summer outside, but I know that fall is coming. I know those temperatures.
Eventually, it'll be here.
It'll be here. Eventually, it will show up. Right now, we're in summer 2.0. We will enter fall 2.0 soon here in the South. But for those of you who are transitioning into it sooner, if you're all over the country, assuming that you are in the Northern Hemisphere, which is you guys, people going into fall, that is what we're talking about at the moment. And you have lived it, you know it. The minute you wake up and those dew points, that humidity is lower, it's like you can feel it in your mouth. You're like, I'm so thirsty. And if your nose is dry and your throat is dry, and if your eyes feel a little bit dry, you better believe that your hair is feeling it also. But I will tell anyone who will listen that this is the time, if you haven't done it yet, to start wearing your hair wavy, curly for the first time if you've never done it before. This is the season to experience it, because I started my own journey in March of 2016, and going through a wet spring and a humid hot summer, I was like, well, this is awful. And I stuck with it anyway, because I promised myself I would at least do it for 6 months. And then after that 6 months, I promised myself I would do it for another 6 months. And I just kind of kept going and never stopped. And it's been almost 10 years now. So that has worked out well in my favor. But I will tell you that first spring and summer, when it is really humid and your hair is really reactive to everything, because it's like new baby hair, it's tough. So this is the season to try all the things, because you are, like Courtney said, going to have those perfect dew points. When we talk about dew point, we're going to get a little tiny bit sciencey here, but that perfect range, if you're looking at your telephono and you go to the AccuWeather app, I'm going to show y'all how to do this. Okay, I'm going to show y'all how to do this in my best Landon Talks voice. You're going to just go to the start screen right here. If you're not following along and you're listening to this podcast, open up your weather app, scroll up until you get some options here, your temperature, your real feel, your indoor humidity, and you're going to hit that little button at the bottom that says see more. That's where you get your dew point. And your dew point is so, so valuable, because she will tell you how humid it actually is, because that percentage, that humidity percentage, which is 32%, which sounds really low today. People are still saying, oh, it's so humid here. Well, 32% doesn't sound like a lot. But when you look at the dew point being 50, The dew point is 50. That tells you, I'm not going to explain dew point to you. I just want y'all to know there's a range. The range you need to remember is 30 to 60. Generally speaking, 30 to 60 degrees as a dew point is really where your hair is going to be happy, no matter what the actual percentage of humidity is. You can look at that as a shortcut if you want to, but really, if it's pouring outside, the humidity is probably about 90%, but that doesn't mean it's humid, because if the dew point is 40, it's still dry outside, even though there's a lot of water falling to the ground. The dew point tells you how much water is in the air that your hair has access to. That's
how much water the air around you can hold. Think of it as a cup. The cup gets bigger as the dew point gets bigger.
It's telling you the space between the air molecules. If that space is right about here, it can hold a water molecule right there in between. If the space is like this, it can hold a lot of water molecules in between. And that's when it feels swampy outside and you want to leave because it feels like a jungle. And then when that space is like right here and there's really not any room for water in between, is where it's so dry that you're like, may I have another sip of my water, please? So that's the range, 30 to 60 degrees. When you look at that, you learn a lot about your hair. So again, going back, long-winded, sorry about that. This is the season to experiment with all the things, with all the products that have glycerin in them as a gel, as some kind of finishing ingredient. Glycerin is this wonderful ingredient that will draw moisture to your hair. So when we start talking about
humidity. If you tried
humidity,
a product in the summer and you loathed it, you thought it had no hold, you thought it was silly, it made your hair poof and get floofy and frizzy, try it now. You will love it.
Dig it out from the back of that cabinet where you shoved it in your product graveyard. Dig it out, because now is the time to play with that baby. This is it. This is her time. It's her time. October, November, maybe even December. If you're not like way up north in Canada, like, you know, this is her time to shine, because glycerin is this wonderful ingredient that will pull moisture to your hair and everything will be balanced. The amount of moisture in your hair, the amount of moisture in the environment, it's a beautiful thing. Now, that said, there are products, I think, that do a good job of balancing the effects of glycerin to a certain degree. And I'm going to go ahead and do it early, Courtney. I'm going to talk a little bit about my product spotlight.
Do it.
Oh my gosh. Today is launch day for Hair Stories Styling Gel. I mean, oh my God. I'm so excited. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, somebody's calling me. Oh, good. It's spam risk. Okay. Sorry. It is an amazing product. I have been actually trying samples of this product for the last 3 years. I have tried upwards of 6 versions of this product, and I really do feel like they nailed it. I honestly do. If y'all don't hear me talk about a new gel that just hit the market, there's probably a reason. But I'm talking about this for real because I really, really do truly love it. And I think it's an excellent, excellent product. So highly recommend trying it. I mention all this because I just, for the first time, opened this product today. If you saw on my Instagram, I was talking about it this morning because today's launch day. I actually filmed that this morning. I'm not good at preparing in advance and filming content in advance like Courtney is. I'm not. I go off the cuff. So I did notice, because this is the first time I've looked at the ingredients list, that the 4th ingredient is glycerin. And I was shocked. Now, my hair is also not as reactive now at this point in my life as Courtney and I are talking about, with, you know, new to wavy hair versus been wavy for almost a decade. So I do acknowledge that my hair is not as reactive as it once was. But when I look at the balance here, I see that we have hydrogenated castor oil, coconut alkanes, we have baobab seed extract. We've got 3 ingredients in like the top 8 that are going to provide an encasement, if you will, of moisture for your hair strands that I believe will prevent glycerin from doing all of the reactive things that it can do. But I will be testing this, and I have tested this in many seasons, because I've had this formulation for over a year now on lots of different clients, but I haven't been able to sell it until now. So that's where we are. This is my product spotlight, Hair Story Styling Gel. It's available starting today. I'm super excited about it, but I do think that there is some potential there for balancing glycerin with other ingredients. So I'll be really interested to see how that product plays. But these are things to look at. If you're interested in your sciencey and you like to look at the back of the bottle, as Courtney and I like to do, most definitely, like, take those things into consideration. Google them.
Oftentimes, I have seen people try and start reading ingredients labels, and they'll latch onto one ingredient and say that ingredient's bad. That ingredient doesn't work for me. So this product won't work for me. I'm refusing to try it. That happens with like shea butter or flaxseed extract or glycerin. A lot of times people will see glycerin on the bottle and they'll think, can't use it because my hair hates glycerin. No, there's more nuance to it. I totally agree with you, Allison, that something like this that has the glycerin in the first 5 ingredients on the ingredients label, you could look at that and go, oh, that has a ton of glycerin. I can't use it. Not necessarily. There is castor oil, hydrogenated castor oil right after it. Oils and butters buffer the effects of glycerin. I have seen it time and time again. Another example of that is the Curlsmith Curl Styling Souffle. It has a lot of glycerin in it, but also it contains some shea butter. And I have used that product in non-ideal dew point ranges and ideal dew point ranges, and it performs the same every single time. So that's why we read the back of the bottle for you, so you don't have to.
It is really interesting to see shea butter and coconut alkanes and castor oil in a gel. Know that they are not trying to make this gel act like a conditioner. They're not trying to make this gel act like a curl cream. When you see those ingredients in those kinds of products, that's when you might go, I've tried those things a few times and that didn't work for me. And I will say, to give the people who look at this and go, well, that's got glycerin, I'm not going to use it. If you're new to wavy and curly, then don't. It is a good way to say, I'm not going to spend my money on a product that may not do something for me. And now I've got this thing sitting in my product graveyard and I don't even want to have a product graveyard. It is a good way to isolate products and to keep yourself and your dollars safe, especially when the economy is kind of blah. So I would say, fine, go ahead and avoid that product for now, but know that it's not an end all be all forever for your hair. If you
can use that information as training wheels, but eventually the training wheels do come off.
Yes, and take them off. Don't be scared. You can go ahead and take them off, lose your training wheels, and move on. I know we have a few questions. I feel like we should jump into a few of those. Thank you guys for submitting them. I love getting to see you guys interact with us. We have so much fun with that. And then it, of course, benefits everybody who's listening to this later. So please send us your questions. We want them.
We deeply appreciate it. Tina had a very interesting question. She asks, have we tried the Bounce Curl Clarifying Shampoo? Is it too stripping for daily use? I have fine, thin, color-treated hair. Tina, I don't know what Bounce Curl was thinking when they labeled this as clarifying, because it is one of the most nourishing, nurturing, moisturizing shampoos I have ever tried. I have actually used this product with no conditioner just for funsies to see if my hair would dye, and it was actually just fine. It was not tangly, snarly. It felt well conditioned after shampooing it with the clarifying shampoo. Here is what I personally think happened. Please feel free to correct me in the comments. I know y'all are good for that. I think that when Bounce Curl launched this product a long time ago, there was this stigma in the curly hair world that if it foamed, sudsed, or bubbled, it was clarifying. The Bounce Curl Clarifying Shampoo does foam and lather, but most people at the time who had curly hair were really strictly trying to follow the curly girl method, which tells you to only ever use conditioner to wash your hair.
Well, Bounce Curl is one that was started by Lorraine Massey. So like that's, if you want to know more about the curly girl method, you will have to look up Lorraine's book from back in the day that has had a big resurgence at the time.
Yes, it absolutely did. And people were just trying to be very, very careful when they were talking about product. So I think when Bounce Curl launched the clarifying shampoo, they were trying to tell you, hey, guys, this is good for curly hair because our brand's name is Bounce Curl. But also, this is going to foam and suds and lather, and don't panic. We're going to just call it a clarifying shampoo. I find it really nourishing and moisturizing. Allison, what do you think?
I totally agree with you, but I have a question for you too. Have you ever tried to use it as a clarifying shampoo? Like, have you ever used it and then deep condition afterwards, and what happened?
My hair was wildly over-conditioned.
Yes.
Wildly over-conditioned afterwards.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. I completely agree with you. I have used this shampoo many times. I absolutely love it. It is actually one of my very favorite day in and day out shampoos. Should you enjoy a shampoo? And again, I hate most shampoos, but it is one of my favorites. Intersense, Pure and Color and hydrating shampoos. I love those as well. They're like the only ones that I ever have on my shelves. They're the only ones that I ever use at home. Should I use a shampoo, which I normally don't? But I completely agree with you. And I think that your take on why they called it a clarifying shampoo is very interesting. But I also think
I could be totally wrong. That is total Courtney speculation there.
I don't think that they believe in clarifying. I mean, this is a brand created by, a woman who is Middle Eastern and has a totally different take and perspective on long curly hair. I mean, this is
has a background in science too. That's
actually true. That's very true. She's a brilliant scientist. She is a formulator. Yeah. She formulates her products. But I think that this culturally, I'm going to presuppose this is a culture that regularly oils the hair, right? And she does have incredibly beautiful, long, shiny, glossy, black curls that are completely drool worthy, which is why she put her face on the bottle with her curls forever and ever. I don't know that it's still on there. Worthy. I mean, absolutely. So I think that it's potentially like hey, you don't need anything more than this. This is our version of a clarifying shampoo. And they talk about it being an enzyme-based clarifying shampoo. And I'm going to liken that to the cleansing properties of New Wash from Hair Story, which I love, which is an oil-based cleansing method. The Korean skincare cleansing method of oil removes oil. So we're going to use that same idea and apply it to a conditioning cleanser, a cleansing conditioner that oil removes oil. That's their version of a clarifying shampoo. Is it based in that resurgence of, don't talk about it? If it suds, we're going to call it clarifying. Totally possible, totally probable. But it could also be a cultural, this is all we're going to provide in our company. This is what you need to clarify with. You don't need anything else. And I can't say that I disagree with them, because if you were only using Bounce Curl products, which are highly water soluble and very nourishing to the hair, and among one of my very favorites. Do what?
You wouldn't need anything else if you lived and breathed within the Bounce Curl line.
That's completely true. So you really shouldn't need anything else unless your scalp needs something more. And then
they have something for that. They have a detox shampoo too.
They do have a detox shampoo. So there is that. But if you want a scalp scrub, if you want more in the way of, you know what I mean? There are other options out there, but that might be another podcast for another time. So maybe we talk about the scalp. I think we did that in our last season, but I would totally revisit the scalp as an episode. So.
I think that would be always good to revisit. And I selfishly pulled another question from Tina because it leads to my product spotlight.
Ooh.
If you use hairspray on day one, do you find the next day it's hard to refresh? Thanks for any advice. Here is my product highlight. It is the Pacifica Big Waves Soft Hold Volume Hairspray. Pacifica, I'm looking at you. Don't you discontinue this. I went to Target to repurchase because this is where I found it. It wasn't stocked in my Target, but also I live in Abilene, Texas. So we don't, maybe it's Abilene and not
I'll
Pacifica.
Look at my Target for you and tell you if I find it.
Pretty please, would you? Because I love this. This is incredible. I used this on wash day. And guess what? I used it to refresh my hair right before we jumped on the podcast. It is insanely light. It smells really good. It has a little bit of sea salt in it, but it's decently nourishing somehow. They put coconut milk in there. I don't know exactly what coconut milk is, but my hair likes it. And
Courtney, have you ever cooked with coconut milk? It's just coconut milk.
Yeah. But anyway, I have more thoughts on that. I've used this on literally every person.
It's in a hairspray, which is interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of a more nourishing kind of ingredient, you would think, but not quite as heavy as full-on coconut oil.
Yeah.
I've used this on every single person who has come and seen me while I'm in cosmetology school, who has graciously let me cut and style their hair. It has worked on every single person. It speeds up dry time. And it smells incredible. Every time I spray it, everybody stops and stares and goes, what is that smell? That smells great. So this is my product spotlight. I love this. I have 2 more bottles coming because this one's almost out.
Okay. So you went ahead and ordered some. You're like, oh my gosh, I gotta have it on hand. Do you use it after your gel? So it's like a booster to your gel in a way.
It doesn't even really boost the gel too much. It really is insanely soft hold. It just adds a tiny bit of grit and texture to the hair, and it has a fair amount of drying alcohol in it. And you know, Allison, like when you're trying to diffuse somebody and let them, leave with dry hair, cheating a little bit and using a drying alcohol does help that water evaporate out of the hair faster, and it helps shorten diffusing times. So that's
Courtney,
the main reason is that the drying alcohol helps it dry faster.
I'm laughing though, because I would be in trouble with all of my cosmetology school teachers if they saw how all of my clients leave, which is not 100% dry. Okay. We do not have that much time. Like there's just not enough time in the world. So, I mean, 90 to 95% dry though, most definitely.
Right.
Like not like, I like to think of your curl families as sort of like, when you nail polish and you get that skin on the outside that's like dry, but like you could still smush it and it's not cured all the way through. I do think that once you have like a curl family that's got gel on it and it's in the process of drying, like there's a thickness there, there's water on the inside, there's product on the inside. It's going to take a minute to cure all the way through. But I like
by a minute, we mean hours, and that's okay.
We mean hours. Okay, we've got another question here. We crack ourselves up. We don't need anybody else. We crack ourselves up. Arad Barzilay, love your name, wants to ask us she says, how to struggle with coarse hair. So she's got coarse and thick hair with low to medium porosity. The struggle is real if you have hair, my friend. That is what I tell my children all the time. Like, it is just difficult to have hair, but getting to know your hair will do everything for you. So with coarse hair, actually, I think coarse, I sometimes don't use the word coarse and I'll use the word strong instead, because I think
love that. That makes me so happy.
It has a negative connotation. Your hair is not rough. Like, it's not rough. It can feel rough sometimes. That depends on the texture, which is a whole different thing. Like, is it a beaded texture? Sometimes you'll have hair that has like kind of a beaded, wiry texture to it. And if that is the case, if your hair does feel rough, know that that is your hair. That is her personality. That is what she's going to do day in and day out. The wonderful thing about strong or coarse hair strands is that they always know what they want to do, and they will not break on you. They will bend. You can get highlights. You can abuse it a little bit with a curling iron if you have to, and it's not going to just melt away on you like someone with truly fine hair will experience. So understand that there are pros and cons to every texture of hair, every width of hair strand, if you will. So for coarse hair, the thing that I tell people all the time, number one, do things to help it feel softer, more pliable. Always use a leave-in conditioner. If your scalp goes for it, I would use a cleansing conditioner. Anything that you can do that will prevent blowing that cuticle open will help it retain more moisture, and that will help it be more pliable and feel softer. So without blowing the cuticle open, you're going to use a cleansing conditioner. I like Hair Story New Wash, but there are lots of other options out there. Always use a leave-in conditioner of sorts. I like a cream underneath your gel. My favorite happens to be Hair Story Hair Balm. Colton King makes a wonderful cream called Style. Lots of good options out there. Again, Courtney has some favorites too. And then gel. You're going to want to use a gel. Don't skip it because you think, well, it will make my hair harder. You want a gel to encase those curl families so that they stay protected and in their shape, so that as your hair is drying, as each one of those curl families are curing, if you will, they stay in that protected shape that little gel prison has put them in. Because if you leave them in that gel prison for a while, then all those bonds, we're going to get sciencey again, that are reforming in the shape as your hair goes from wet to dry in the shape that you put it in and encased it in that gel. So pick a gel that maybe a cream gel, maybe just a Curl Spiralicious, something without a lot of protein in it to add
a nourishing, moisturizing gel, one that has more
oils, butters, and things in it, but that remember that if it's a gel and it has an oil or a butter kind of component to it, it's not a cream. It still needs
No.
to be a gel because you need that PVP. You
Yes.
need, gosh, what are the gel ingredients? I need to look at the back of a bottle. Courtney, help me out here. You need gel ingredients that will give you that actual hold that lock things in place.
Right. So Jessie Curl Spiralicious is a great example. Another one that's on the more moisturizing side that works pretty well for coarse hair would be the Kinky Curly Curling Custard. You also have that Curlsmith Curl Styling Souffle. Very nice for coarser hair. You will always be putting either a leave-in conditioner or a curl cream on coarser hair. It just needs it to help it stay soft and pliable. I also personally think that people with coarse hair benefit the most from deep conditioning with heat. So clarifying the hair, making sure that there is no gunky, oily buildup on the hair, applying your deep conditioner, really brushing it through with a Tangle Teaser type brush or a wet brush with super soft bendy bristles, evenly coating every single strand of hair with some deep conditioner, putting on your plastic shower cap, and using either a heat cap. You can find one on Amazon. You just type in heat cap for deep conditioning. They usually have some flax seeds in them, and you can chuck them in the microwave for however long the manufacturer tells you to. And then you put it on your head, and those flax seeds trap the heat in the hair. So plastic shower cap to keep the flax seeds from soaking up your deep conditioner.
Especially for hair is low to medium porosity. If you didn't mention that, that's where the heat really comes into play.
Really helps with the coarse hair. But even like medium porosity coarse hair has so many more layers of hair cuticle than a fine hair would. So even if your hair is higher porosity than, like, let's say fine low porosity hair, you're still going to have to like warm up the hair in order to get that deep conditioner to truly penetrate deeply all the way, the same way it would on a different hair texture.
I thought that was so fascinating when I learned that, Courtney, that fine hair can have as few as like 6 to 7, as my kids say, layers.
No!
I had to. You know, they're not allowed to say it in the elementary school right now, which I think is total.
Thank goodness.
No, I disagree. I think if the teachers started saying it 6, 7, then it would not be cool anymore, and the kids would just stop saying it. So
Possibly.
just go ahead and let them do it. Whatever. Anyway, 6, 7 layers of cuticle, whereas a coarse strand of hair can have up to, I read this somewhere, 18 layers of cuticle, of keratin. That is intense.
So that's my biggest thing for people with coarse hair. I get it. It is tough to get it fully, properly, entirely conditioned. Have a fun little spa day at your house. It's your deep conditioning day. If you don't have access to a heat cap with the flax seeds, feel free to put on that plastic shower cap. Heck, a Walmart sack, just something plastic. Then wrap your head up in your terry cloth towel that you have saved. From the dryer. Put it in the dryer, get it nice and warm, wrap your head up in that terry cloth towel, then go sit and watch your favorite episode of your favorite TV show and have a snack and let that stuff sit on your hair for a bit. Then go rinse it out.
The key is really to have a snack. Put a snack in there. Everybody needs a snack.
That makes the deep conditioner penetrate better. The snackage.
It's the snackage. I grabbed a couple gels so I could actually, like, because I have no recall memory left anymore. The floppy drive is full. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, I only have reactive memory now. So I grabbed some gels. Okay. So let's see. In Hair Story, we have PVP. This is a great ingredient for hold. In Bounce Curl Gel, which I actually don't recommend for coarse or strong hair strands. It's just a lot of protein, but I'm picking this up for the ingredient, and that is VPVA copolymer, kind of a derivative of PVP if I had to guess. And then in InnerSense, I create Curl Memory, which might be a good option for a coarser hair type because it provides crazy hold and a crazy cast. You know, they've got a lot of things in here that I go, where is the hold ingredient? But it's in here somewhere. They've got xanthan gum, which is what I think they're using because all natural ingredients here. So xanthan gum is, I think, a big part of the matrix of ingredients to create hold in that product. And then an I Create Volume, which has a medium hold. This is confusing in her sense. A
I
volumizing
barely got
lotion
any
for
hold
body
out of
and
the
fullness.
volume. It never held for me at all.
It never held for you at all. It holds
Mm-mm.
for a lot of people. I think what I've noticed with this product is the higher the porosity, the more the hold. Is that right? I don't know. It works on some people and it doesn't. And I don't know that if I've created or if I've found a real correlation there, but it seems
I
to
haven't
create
seen a real
a heck of a
correlation
cast on
either.
people who are new to wavy and curly. I don't know why, but the
Yeah.
ingredient in this one is where is it? I'm gonna dig it up. Okay, I know what it is, but I just can't find it on the list. I'll tell you what it is. It's called galactorabinin, and I've talked about this ingredient before. It sounds like it comes from outer space. It comes from larch trees, and it is the same ingredient in some other products that create extra curl and hold. So it is another option if you want just a world of options and ingredients to look for that will give you hold. But that's a really good question is I have coarse hair. Low to
What do I
medium porosity. What do I do? Like these are the things that we would reach for. Things that give you pliability and softness, but then something that will really give you control.
Yes,
But be proud
absolutely.
of your texture, for real.
Dude, sometimes I wish I had coarse hair. My fine hair is yeah.
I
You always
sometimes feel
want
the
what
same
you
way.
don't have, I guess.
It's true. Everybody does. It's
The next question we have is I'm pretty sure out of all shampoo, except for Pantene Volume Shampoo that I use to clarify. Oh, she's pretty much out of every clarifying shampoo. What are your thoughts on using it twice a week until I decide on a gentler shampoo? Well, that depends on your hair and what state it's in. I personally could totally get away with using something like the Pantene Volume Shampoo every time I wash my hair, and my hair would be just fine. But that I have incredibly low porosity, fine hair that is insanely prone to buildup, and I live in an area with incredibly hard water. All of those variables don't meet together often. So if you don't have all of those things, I would not say that this is a great plan. I would trot out to Walmart today or Target or CVS or Ulta and grab another gentle shampoo. A really good option is to run to Ulta and allow yourself to pick up a sample size of something fun that you have had your eye on. They tend to be pretty good about having sample sizes out there chilling.
I
Thoughts,
agree.
Allison?
I agree with you. I don't think that it's a good idea to use that twice a week. I would look like I stuck my finger in a light socket. It would be a really terrible situation for me personally. But the other thing too is you've been using it out as your clarifying shampoo. Most of the time, we don't use clarifying shampoos all that often. So I would save it. I would save it because you're not going to
Yeah.
use it often anyway, and go ahead and get yourself a more gentle shampoo. Gentle options that I enjoy. I think that Jessie Curl makes some pretty decent gentle shampoos. I like Inner Sense shampoos. I think they're pretty great. I love the Bounce Curl shampoo. I know that some of those things you're like, oh, I got to order those on the internet. But, Jessie
Right.
Curl and Inner
Shipping
Sense now,
tends to
Inner
be
Sense,
pretty
you
fast
can pick
now.
up Inner Sense at Ulta.
Mhm.
Inner Sense is pretty easy to get, and you can get both of these things on Amazon. So if you happen to have, not that I always want to promote Amazon, but if you happen to have Amazon Prime, they can deliver some pretty gentle shampoo to you pretty quickly, and then you can hang on to that clarifying shampoo until you have something else. All right, Betsy. Betsy's got a question for us. Let's do this one. I'm in transition. When I scrunch out the crunch, my hair still feels stiff and looks wet. What can I do? Oh, Betsy, I hate that for you. Man, okay. So let's see. My first thoughts are this. Number one, it sounds like your hair is a little bit more on the actual lower porosity side. That would be my first guess without seeing you and getting into your hair and really looking at it. And it sounds like the things you're using are kind of floating on top rather than being absorbed. I would probably go back to square one and say, clarify, deep condition, and then use a leave-in conditioner and see what your hair looks like. I think you need a moment where you're evaluating your hair and what it actually needs before you start piling a lot of things on top of it. So that would be my first advice to a client of mine would be like, observe, start with a clean slate, start with a deep conditioned slate, and a little leave-in conditioner goes a long way, and then see what you're working with. Does it still look dirty? Is it the fault of the clarifying shampoo? Is it the deep conditioner is something that is just floating on the surface of your hair and you don't like it? When you're in that transition phase, you are learning so much. You're learning about your hair, you're learning about the water, you're learning about the weather, you're learning what you even like your hair to look like, and you're learning about products. And it's a lot at one time. So I would always recommend minimizing and starting from square one and then reevaluating from there. If you find that after a clarify and a deep condition and a little leave-in conditioner that it's still looking wet or dirty, I would scratch all of those things and I would start to minimize fully from there in terms of saying, okay, now I'm going to just use my clarifying shampoo, rinse, repeat. How does it look? Is it like you stuck your finger in light socket, or is it still looking dirty? If it's still looking dirty, that clarifying shampoo might not really be a clarifying shampoo for you. And I would let that one go into the world of things where things go when they're not for you, whether it's donation, give it to a friend, or if you think it's just garbage, put it in the trash can. And then reevaluate everything from the start. I don't know, Courtney, that would be my take is minimize your variables and start from scratch.
If it were me and I washed and styled my hair and I put in all that work and I have a hair day where I scrunched out the crunch, my hair still looks stringy and wet. First off, there's only one time. We talked about at the very beginning of the episode how Allison and I have tried a bunch of products, and I got to thinking about it, and I have actually kind of like documented how many products I have tried. It's over 400 curly hair products. So that being said, there has been one time that I have used a product where this tip I'm about to share with you would not work. Every other time, this tip would work. So every time this tip would work, I have used a product that made my hair still feel stiff and wet after I scrunch out the crunch. Flip my head upside down, get my fingers in my roots, and I'm talking violently.
Not
shake
kind.
it out.
Not kind.
Not kind, not gentle, not soft. I mean, shake that hair out hard.
If y'all are listening to this and not watching it right now, Courtney's having a real. I said if they're like listening and not watching right now, you are having a real moment with your hair. And I want to call attention to the level of volume. What's the character on Harry Potter? The really giant
Hermione.
guy. No, not Hermione. It was a little Hermione, but I'm thinking the real big guy.
Hagrid.
You were having a real Hagrid moment with your hair at that moment. And I really like that for you. Okay, continue as you were.
I was playing Quidditch. I was flying on the broom. I shook my hair out really, really, really hard. So
shake it out.
I remember the first time I went, Allison, and got my hair cut with you, you're like, okay, Courtney, show me how you scrunch out the crunch. And I started scrunching my hair and fluffing it. And you went, oh, honey, calm down. It was really funny. The next thing that I would do is if I had scrunched my hair and fluffed it really hard and it didn't scrunch out the crunch all the way, I would get my hands wet in the sink, get a tiny dot of the leave-in conditioner that I used on my hands, rub them together, and go to scrunch that hair one more time just to see if I could fully get that cast to break. But everything Allison said about resetting your hair with a good clarify and deep condition session is 100% on the nose. Jennifer asks, are rice water rinses really good for your hair or just hype? Honestly, I think that rice water rinses were kind of overhyped, but there really wasn't anything on the market that worked the same as a rice water rinse at the time that they were really, really popular. When everybody was doing a rice water rinse, you couldn't find a product on the shelf that contained that ingredient. I found them to be really, really helpful and beneficial. Rice water contains an ingredient. I don't think that's the right word because the ingredients are just rice and water, but there's a component of it called inositol, which is a carbohydrate found in the rice. And that inositol carbohydrate actually has the ability to penetrate into the hair underneath that hair cuticle and lend some structure and support to the hair. So it kind of sort of a little bit acts like a protein treatment. And that's why they're so terribly hyped, because if we can kind of reconstruct the hair from the inside out, lend some support to the hair underneath that hair cuticle, the hair is going to look shinier. It's going to be stronger. It's going to grow out longer before it breaks and snaps. So that's where the growth claims come from for rice water. But here's the thing, you can now get this ingredient in products, and you don't necessarily have to go boil rice in your kitchen and make your own. I found that it is really hard to get that really consistent and get really nice rice water every time I go to make it in my kitchen. I have done that a lot. Products that contain rice water that I can just go out and purchase are the Curlsmith hair primer. It's not their purple bottle bond repair one. It's their like pre-scalp cleanse in the blue bottle. That one has a good amount of rice water in it. And another product would be the Pattern hair mask. Lots and lots and lots of rice extract in that product, which makes it feel pretty proteiny. Allison, any thoughts?
No, rice water rinse, I'm lazy, Courtney. I'm not gonna ever do anything DIY. I tried it back in the day. And by the way, I see DRV's comments that that my volume is pretty low. I'm sorry, you guys. I was having major technical difficulties with my microphone earlier today, so I'm sorry if I don't sound loud enough. I'll kind of try to talk a little bit louder, but I'm sorry about that. Rice water rinses, Courtney, I was never going to do it. I read so many things about how it had a certain like yeasty smell to it. And
if you do it right, it smells bad.
Absolutely not. I'm not interested in that at all. I can't do it. I heard about refrigerating it. I don't want to put something cold on my hair, but I'm glad you said something about inositol. I really thought, I don't know that I was saying it right. I have all these years called it in my mind, maybe out loud, inositol, which I don't think is right. But it's inositol. And it is wonderful that ingredient can be found as a mainstream ingredient in so many products now, because that was not the case for a long time. And of course, it's like some indigenous tribe that has been using rice water rinses on their hair for years on years, decades on decades, probably centuries on centuries, to grow their hair literally to the ground. It is an amazing ingredient. And so now that that's been able to be isolated and synthesized into something that we can put into products is wonderful. And I did not know that it was in those products. So thank you for mentioning that it was in those in particular.
I think we have time for one more question. And if we didn't get to your question, I am so sorry. We do our absolute best, but we do have a fixed time frame. So I thought this question from, from MR was a very good question. I don't want to say your name and say it wrong. I have color treated hair and in transition. I've been thinking of trying K18. Is it worth the money? Allison, have you played around with K18 at all?
No.
Okay. Well, then maybe we'll need one more question.
I say that because there are so many bond building treatments on the market. Olaplex came out and was the big bond building treatment, and they were very big into doing things like that in order to, the way they worked was building synthetic disulfide bonds in your hair so that it would feel thicker, it would be stronger. And people had a lot of success with that. Hair Story has come out with a bond boost and a bond serum that you can use. I do notice a difference. I just haven't really played with K18 specifically. So if you have color treated hair, it depends on the color on your hair. If you have color on your hair, like you're getting your roots dyed because maybe your silver strands are coming in and you're wanting to move away from that, I don't think that a bond building treatment would necessarily be worth the money. But if it's a lot of bleach that you're trying to get past and you have a lot of damage because of, bleach works differently than color deposits. So when you bleach the hair, you're actually taking some of the integrity out of the actual hair strand. So it becomes weaker, it becomes more brittle, it becomes more frayed. If your hair is very long, you experience those same things because the hair is just older. So in those scenarios, if you're moving past bleach or you're working with hair that is very long, but you want to keep it and you're in transition, then I think that a bond building type of treatment could definitely go a long way to preserve your length. Yes. Other than that, not so much.
Allison, I totally misunderstood when you said no. I thought you meant no, I haven't played around with K18 or didn't have
Oh.
I am so sorry.
Not at all. Not at all. I was very blunt. I was like, nope, haven't used it. Like, I have not used 400 products, Courtney. Like, you are such a champion of continuing to use and try all the new things. And I feel like I got to a point where, like, I found a lot of things that really worked after many trials of using things that didn't work. And I just was like, you know what? I'm not really willing to sacrifice my wash days anymore. I don't have that kind of time. I don't want to play with all the things anymore. So I kind of try to just use the things that I know work and that I know work for my clients. And K18 just really did not make it onto my radar. So,
So I have a funny story about K18. I am not sponsored. I don't have a coupon code. However, right when it launched, they were very gracious and they sent me a bottle. I read the ingredients label and I was an ingredient snob. I saw that there was a drying alcohol in it, and so I refused to use it. So I had a $75 bottle of K18 sitting in my cabinet for months, and I turned my nose up at it.
You were such a curly girl method purist.
I was at one point. It was terrible.
Yes, early on. But you are so good at, like, here are the rules, I will follow them, and then I will be successful. And that's not a bad mentality to have. But you are so flexible in your old age.
You know what? I started doing a little bit more research and I started looking into the bond repair treatments more because I like to understand how a thing works. When you say it's bond repair, what do you mean? Guess what? There are 3 different types of bonds in your hair and they're not created equally. Allison, it was you when you were going through cosmetology school and you either hopped on stories or talked about this in a YouTube video where there are 3 different types of bonds in your hair and they do different things. And then it kind of opened my eyes to the thing of like, just because it says bond on it doesn't mean that all of these bond care products are doing the same thing. K18 is unique in the sense that it attacks 2 of the bonds in your hair. Sort of. There's a tertiary 4th bond in the hair. There are hydrogen bonds, salt bonds, and disulfide bonds. And then there are these peptide chains on the sides of your hair that add to the tensile strength of your hair. And when those get broken, then your hair becomes more fragile. K18 repairs the disulfide bonds, which are the strongest bonds in your hair. It actually chemically relinks the disulfide bonds in your hair.
It's not just creating new disulfide bonds, it's actually relinking them. Interesting. Okay, that's
which is insanely difficult to do. Thank you, chemistry, and thank you, chemists, for getting interested in hair care because they actually solved an issue that was an issue for eons in the hair care industry. Once you bleach the hair, you were a tad bitly screwed. But then Olaplex came out, and it was the first of its kind that actually chemically re-adhered the broken disulfide bonds back together. Now, maybe it didn't hit all of them, like we're not getting the hair back to 0. You're not back to virgin hair. You're just getting it better. Anyway, Olaplex only touches the disulfide bonds. That's it. No matter what, that's all you're getting. K18 touches disulfide bonds and these peptide chains in the sides of your hair. It helps increase the tensile strength of the hair. So it's hitting 2 different bonds in your hair. The Curlsmith Bond Rehab Salve attacks 3 of the bonds in your hair, the disulfide bonds, the salt bonds, and the hydrogen bonds, which is very interesting. I don't fully understand the chemistry behind the Curlsmith Bond Rehab Salve. I just know that they claim that it hits those 3 different bonds in your hair. And looking at something like what is it that's so popular now? The L'Oreal glosses and stuff that are bond repair in the drugstore, or what was it? The Redken acidic bonding concentrate products. I see those all the time in my cosmetology school. Those attack the salt bonds in your hair and adjust the pH of your hair to repair salt bonds. It's not relinking disulfide bonds. It's very interesting. Do I think K18 is worth it? I mean, I've tried 400 products. I'm going to say that anything's worth a try.
Well, did you have a good experience that after you bleached your hair? Is that when you decided, let me bust that out again? When did you actually play with it? And did you have a good experience with it?
I actually busted it out once I figured out how it kind of worked, and I loved it before I bleached my hair. I loved it while I was bleaching my hair. Allison, when you chopped all my hair off and we donated it to children with hair loss, I had actually done a K18 treatment on my hair right before I came in and donated it because I wanted to donate the strongest, healthiest, shiniest hair I possibly
So
could.
sweet.
So I have used it on virgin low porosity hair. I have used it on highlighted hair. It makes a big difference. I actually used it on my 3-year-old daughter's hair yesterday because her hair was getting really tangly and snarly at the ends and I don't want to trim it.
You're not ready yet.
I'm not ready yet. So we did some
Yep.
K18 on her hair, and you know what? It helped that hair cuticle lay down. It added some shine and some tensile strength back in her hair. It's not a waxy film on top. It's really wild. When you put it on the hair, you can put it on towel dried hair, Allison, and you put it on, and all of a sudden it drives all the water out of the hair. The hair becomes saturated with water again. It's the weirdest feeling. We've got to play with this in person sometime.
Okay.
We'll show you what it does.
Done.
You
So
want to
what
think
I'm hearing is a
K18 is worth
resounding
the
yes from
money?
Courtney. Courtney says yes. This is a good thing
It's
to
fun
try.
to play with. It's fun to play with. Maybe you buy one tiny little $30 $30 travel sized bottle from K18. I know it's a lot of money, but it's tiny.
Woo.
Use that up. See what you think. You don't need much, ma'am. Please use 1 to 2 pumps. I promise it's not much at all. You don't need a lot. All right,
Okay.
guys.
We have
made
got
it.
one last thing I think we should cover really quickly.
Oh,
And
okay.
that is that we didn't really talk much about the fall transition. We talked about humidity and we talked about hard water. Courtney, what are your top 3 tips? And then I'll share mine for transitioning into fall. If you're not new to it and you're not experimenting and your hair's not new to all this, but you've been wavy for a while, maybe fall is a time when you do XYZ and you're getting into cooler temperatures. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. What do you do? What are your top 3?
My top 3 would be to finally play around with mop top custard. I like mop top custard in the fall. That is when I like busting out that product. And if you went all summer long not needing a leave-in conditioner because your hair was very well conditioned, you may find that as it finally does cool off a smidgen, that you do need to start reaching for a leave-in conditioner again. But honestly, Allison, I don't change anything at this point because my hair's out of transition. I may bust out the mop top custard because I have some in my cabinet, and I know that my hair does really well in the fall with that product, but that's about it. I'm not really changing a whole lot.
You bust out those glycerin products. You're like, let me try the glycerin products big time. I think that's a big one because it does a lot for your hair at that time. It draws water to it. That would be a big change I would make. Bust out those glycerin containing products. You're going to love them. The second thing that I would do differently is maybe start deep conditioning a little bit more often. If you weren't really doing it much during the summer, maybe bring that back. When that humidity starts to wane, you're going to want your hair, your strands to be deeply hydrated by the time the dew points in the teens and 20s or lower in the winter roll around. So think of fall as a training time for your hair for winter. It's a prep time. So, and definitely if you weren't using a leave-in conditioner, use a leave-in conditioner for the love, use a leave-in conditioner. And then the last thing I would say is if you're not using some kind of a layering product under your gel, assuming that you're using a gel, layer your products. Add one more in there. Anything that you can do that can provide another layer of protection against the elements for your hair to protect that hydration you've worked so hard to infuse into your strands, protect it. So that would be your leave-in conditioner, some kind of layering product. I like a foam or a cream, and then some kind of gel on top for control, whether you have coarse hair or fine hair or just something in between, just to kind of think about all of your needs. I know we have a few questions that we were not able to get to. We will post this video on our own YouTube channels. If we didn't answer your question, please post them in the comments. And if we, get a moment, we can go back and answer those, typing them in. We would love to expound on that for you. I'm speaking for Courtney also. And of course, listen, please, to our podcast as well. Any kind of ratings you can give us in whatever platform you're listening to, the Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening, please submit reviews, stars, all those things. It really helps us to grow and to get the word out to other would would-be wavies that we might not be able to reach. So share it with a friend. Please give us a review. We really appreciate all the love and support you can give to us.
As always, we hope you are having an absolutely fantastic day, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
We'll see you next Wednesday, guys. Have a great curl day.